My skin is my sin.
He then put his hand over my mouth and kept telling me, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. I pulled my pants down. I think my body went numb.
I was wearing a floor-length skirt, a Tampa Bay Buccaneers t-shirt, and an olive green hooded sweatshirt and a pair of Puma sneakers when I was raped on my dorm room floor.
Around the age of 5, that's when I began to experience sexual assault.
And this guy I was looking at throughout the night came and offered me a drink.
And he was about 14, 15 years old.
The next thing I remember was being on this mattress.
And as I went to open the front door of my car, he put his hand on it and stopped, and then grabbed me by the back of the shirt and pulled me into the back seat.
That's when he just took the icing off the cake and raped me as a child.
And he kept on telling me how much I liked it and how much I enjoyed it.
I just remember sitting in the shower for 4 hours, just trying to get clean.
It took me years to forgive myself and tell myself that I did not let that happen.
Girls, boys are killing themselves.
And so we have to dispel the myth that this is a gender issue. This is a power issue.
It's a type of violence that gets in and destroys you slowly.
I didn't even think that I was lovable anymore. I'm dirty. Why would you want to be with me? I've been discarded.
There was a point in my life when the grief was just too much. I started the act of trying to hang myself, and to hear myself choking, I couldn't get past it.
I don't want a pity party this happened to me, but I got through it.
I got into therapy. I have a therapist. I'm in group therapy. It's still really, really, really hard.
It's something that has defined me as a woman today, and it will continue to define me, but in all of the amazing ways, none of the negative ways.
I want to make it very clear that every single survivor's story is different, and for me, I don't deal with this on a daily basis.
Sexual assault takes years, if not a lifetime, to heal from.
It is possible to heal. We have to do it on our own terms. It's going to look different for everyone.
Don't be scared to say I need help.
With us all together as one, we can change this.
I don't even know. No one asked for this, and it sucks that this happened. But we can all do better.
A letter of apology from myself, Brock Turner's victim, and any woman who's ever survived sexual assault. I'm sorry. No, truly I am. I'm sorry for so many things, to so many people, through so many times, but most of all, I'm sorry I believed these lies. I guess it should come as no surprise that the right to my body is a social disguise, based on the notion that a man has a right to anything in his eyes, from my thighs to my hair, and no, not my dreads, but the ones down there, as long as my skirt was short enough to invite him to stare. So, I'm sorry. I apologize for this disguise that I put on, but I'm so glad you knew it was meant to turn you on, because the clothes that I wear have no significance to me as a human being. Rather, they're meant for you to define me by what you're seeing. Believing my hemline determines my inner being, I invite you to look down upon me while I suffocate beneath this glass ceiling. So, forgive me. Forgive me, please, for not getting the memo, that if I drink a little bit too much, I go from being a woman to a hoe, for forgetting that if I sip drinks and liquor shouldn't be the only thing I expect down my throat, because if I'm not really asking for it, then he really won't. Now, I'm not sure if my apology is coming off entirely too sincerely, so let me take a minute to break it down for y'all a little bit more clearly. This apology is a symptom of a social disease seen from football rosters in Ohio to buses in New Delhi, with outbreaks of slut-shaming and victim-blaming mentalities, and no cure in sight under this current system of patriarchy. We've got invisible wars leaving visible scars on members of our nation's military, and don't get me started on what the hell is going on politically. See, I'd write my local politician, but he's probably taken the lead on defining rape in terms of words such as legitimacy. In fact, the following is a list of exact quotations taken from politicians in the United States of America. Rape victims should make the most of a bad situation. Rick Santorum, former presidential hopeful. Some girls, rape, easy. Roger Rivard, former Wisconsin congressman. Rape is like bad weather. If it's inevitable, you should relax and enjoy it. Clayton Williams, former contender for Texas governor. See, this disease has reached the top of our nation's leadership to the point of being endemic. But even without a medical degree, I've got a 4-step regimen that's sure to end it. Number 1, remember, rape is not about sex. It's about power and privilege. And if you don't believe me, take a detour into our nation's prison systems. Number 2, don't teach women self-defense, modest dress, or other ways to avoid being raped initially. Instead, why not foster a culture that teaches men not to rape indiscriminately? Number 3, if the case makes it to court, I've got advice for those on the bench. Perceptions of character are not as important as evidence. And number 4, if a person is raped, look for the rapist and not the reason. That one shouldn't have to rhyme.
What's good, fam? This is Jobs, and you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to guys, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule, and that's to be respectful. And first and foremost, I definitely want to drive that point home tonight. I don't want anybody to ever feel uncomfortable calling up and sharing their truth. We're not here to bring anybody down. We're just here to listen. And I'll even take it a step further. If you would like to call up and share, and you don't want us asking any questions, say that up front. And we're not about to ask you any degrading questions. It is not your fault, and that's not what we're about. I just felt like in the climate of what's going on with R. Kelly, you know, I personally, I think dude is just completely wrong, period, and should be dealt with accordingly. However, I don't think all the attention should be paid to him. You know, I think that people who have survived being assaulted sexually should get all the attention and all the love that they need to cope with what they're going through. And if us doing a show, just a simple show, and just listening to them helps somebody else out there or even helps them, that's dope. You know, so we'll see. We may get a lot of callers. We may not get anybody. If you do want to call in, the number is 347-855-8692. And the plug is still at work, so it's going to be a minute before he calls in. And wow, I just, you know, the crazy part, well, I won't say the crazy part, but I really, really, really looked at a lot of videos and heard a lot of stories to kind of prep for the show, and it's just heartbreaking, especially coming from somebody that has daughters. You know, it's just, and what I also realize, and I don't want to, it's brothers out there that have been assaulted as well, and I don't want to make them feel like their pain don't count. It does. You know, and that's a big thing. You know, when men are sexually assaulted, the stigma that is normally attached with women coming out and saying something is tenfold at least for men. You know, so that's it. It was just heartbreaking just listening to people's stories about what happened to them or what happened to their loved one. You know, I saw one brother, I believe his name was Kenneth, and his daughter had been raped, and he wrote a poem called, I want to say, Rape Poem, and it was just, it was heartbreaking but a phenomenal piece of work. And you can tell the pain, and listening to the stories, it's years beyond the physical attack, because that doesn't go away just listening to the stories. And I've never experienced it personally, and that's why we did the show. Like I said, somebody out there that would like to tell their story. And I was surprised at the level of response that I got when I made a couple of posts. And the ease with which, I won't say ease, but how many people wanted to tell their story as to what happened to them. I was surprised. And I don't think it was just myself that was surprised, to be quite honest. And let me make it clear too. Also, you don't need to tell your name. We're not doing no pictures of you. We're not judging you. It's just you, and you can say what you'd like to say. I do want people to know that we may have somebody else in the queue that would like to speak their truth too. So just be a little conscious of that. But other than that, tell us what happened. Tell us what you feel comfortable talking about. And I see people trying to tune in a little bit. The number is 347-855-8692, and you do have to press 1 to get on air. And I'm not that great at matter of fact, I suck at multitasking. Don't get me wrong. And what I'm trying to do is, for whatever reason, when it goes live on YouTube, it automatically uses the same name from the last show. So I'm just trying to update that. For those people that are on YouTube and in the chat room, shout out to you. And also, we do have an event. So if you want to tell your story in there, you can do that. If you got a story about somebody you want to post in there, you can do that. It's pretty much all about you. So I'm just waiting on a couple of people to call up while I try to invite some more people to the live stream. And, hopefully, and, we typically don't get started for the first 15 minutes anyway. So I like to take that time. And usually I got, room to kind of like hide my disappearing acts when I try to make sure that, I have to go through my phone and make sure that the live stream is being heard. And everything is going the way it's supposed to go. And what I'm going to do now is, let me see, I want to put just a little information about sexual assault. It's sad. 1 in 6 women. 1 in 33 men. Like 1 in 6, though. That is literally like any bus you get on in America, there's probably, even the smallest city, 2 rape victims on that bus, if not more. Just think about that. Just a random bus trip anywhere, downtown to wherever you're going in your city. And 2 people on that bus have been assaulted sexually. And we don't seem to care about that in this country at all. And I don't understand that. And kind of going back to the brother's poem, what he was saying was, if we really cared about this in our country, we'd do something. We see all type of GoFundMe accounts for this, that, and the third. We see all these people marching for this cause and that cause. And I'm not trying to be dismissive of anybody's cause, and I'm not trying to put down anybody's movement or anything like that. But come on now, our children are being hurt. And it's just not our children, it's our children's children. Because hurt people, and the people they hurt the most are the ones that's the closest. Come on, family, we got to do better than that. And I see I got a couple people that's also in the queue. If you want to get on air, you got to press 1 so I will know. And I will have to say the last 4 digits of your phone number. Other than that, again, we're not doing no names, we're not doing no picks, and we're not doing no judgments. And what we will not do is disrespect anybody's story. That's just unacceptable. That's not going to happen tonight. And y'all already know how we do on the show. Disrespect is just not tolerated. We only got one rule, and that's it. And if you can't deal with that, just the wrong show for you. I love you. Have a great day. Have a great life. But don't call up. It's that simple. Oh, man, I'm getting a little cold. I'm sorry. But I'm just trying to, I wonder why it's not going right here. I'm just do me a favor. If you're in the live stream, look at some of these statistics that I got up here and tell me what you think. Is there anything wrong? Am I missing anything? And actually, you know what? I also have some that I it wasn't as many, but it was a few that was specific to the men. You know, and like I say, it wasn't as many, but I had to go to another set of videos to get to a little bit more detail as far as the men are concerned. And shout out to everybody that's jumped in on the live stream. And I haven't even shared it for whatnot, you know. And we got a couple of callers already. So let me get to 8240. What's good, fam? How you doing? 8240. Hello? You are live, 8240. All right, well, we're going to try to come back to you. We're not going to hang up. We're just going to mute you again, all right? And we'll get to 3200 right quick. What's good, fam? How you doing?
How you doing? Black Power, Joseph. This is your girl, Janae Earl. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Facebook. I'm good. Listening in to your show today. And your topic is very sensitive for a lot of people, you know, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Because especially being in a female in a black household or anywhere in America, we all know somebody that's experienced sexual abuse or neglect or rape or molestation or incest, you know, in some way, shape, or form. And it's been taboo for so many people, but I guess with all this R. Kelly mess coming out, now people want to talk about it, you know. But
and that's sad. That's sad and beautiful
sad
at the same time.
Yeah, because me personally, I've never been sexually abused, but I've had neighbors and family members that have, like my next door neighbors. I mean, I can talk about them because I love them, and it's not a secret. Everybody in the world knew what was going on with them. I even had an incident when I was a little girl at a sleepover with them, and their father was standing at the doorway while we were all having a little sleepover in his underwear, playing with him, his genitals, in front of us. And my cousin was with me. My cousin grabbed me up, and, you know, as soon as the sunlight rose, and we went back home, you know, that next morning. And my cousin, thank God she was older than me, because at the time I was like 5 or 6, you know. I just vaguely remember what was going on. But he had been molesting all of his daughters and his sons, you know, and he even would say stuff like we have down south. I'm from South Carolina, and like we have little liquor houses and shot houses or whatever, you know, speakeasy. And he would get drunk and say, well, I raised my PUSSY. I had it before anybody else had it. And people knew this, and nobody did anything to protect those children, you know. And now, I mean, the boys in the family have committed suicide. 3 of them, okay, have committed suicide. One of his grandsons committed suicide not too long ago, a couple months ago, and everything. And the girls, I mean, they were so conditioned to what was being done to them, they joked about it. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, how sad is that, you know, that we can live in a society, and it was like there was nothing nobody did about he worked for, like, the government, the county. He worked for the county. He worked for the county or whatever. So when the case came up, because my mom and everything, they made sure that we knew the difference between what was right touch and wrong touch. You know, and they was like, did he touch you? He never touched me. But he did expose himself to us as little girls. You know what I'm saying? And he was, you know, and my dad threatened him. My dad was like, look, I don't give a damn if my daughter is laying dead in the ditch. Don't you ever put your hands on her. Don't touch her. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you do with your kids, that's your business. But don't put your hands on my child, you know. And it's just sad because nobody protected those kids. Nobody. Their own mama couldn't keep them from being molested by their father. You know what I'm saying? And this is well known all over the city. You know, I don't know if they listening or not. I doubt it. But it's just stories like that have been out and about in our black communities that we do not discuss and we don't talk about it. And you got all these family secrets that come up later in generations. You know, like, I feel so sorry for them now, because now their kids is all coming out and saying, I've been a victim of sexual abuse, and you know what I'm saying? And this is why my brother killed himself. That's right. And her brother, you know, one of the girls, the oldest daughter, her son just recently killed himself because his baby mama took the kids away from him, and his thing was, I can't protect my kids. You know what I mean? He didn't want what happened to him to happen to his own children, so he took his own life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes above just you touching me wrong. You know what I'm saying? It goes above into your mental and your psyche. You know, I think I still have problems because of that one little incident where this man exposed himself, and I didn't even know what a genital was. You know what I'm saying? I was 5 or 6 years old. I don't know what was going on. You know, and it wasn't nobody. If my cousin had been there, it probably would have been worse than it did. But we got to start talking about this more openly with our children. Like, when all this R. Kelly stuff started coming out, me and my cousins, we took our girls and we watched it with them. And we asked them questions. Well, how does this make you feel? Or is there anybody around you that makes you feel uncomfortable? And then they started opening up and saying, yeah, well, so-and-so husband hugged me a little bit too long. You know what I'm saying? Or this person makes me uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? You got to have this dialogue with your children. You got to listen to them. Exactly. You know, I live in D.C. now, and, you know, we got a lot of sex trafficking. We got a lot of young black girls that are missing right now, and it's horrible. But they don't get the publicity. They say the girls ran away. They say that they runaways. They say that they say that they runaways and stuff like that, instead of just acknowledging the fact that people are preying on young black girls. You know what I'm saying? We got to watch our kids. We got to watch our kids.
I truly appreciate you calling up and sharing your stories. I really do.
No problem, Joseph. I've been wanting to get on your show for the longest, but I've been busy. But now I'm down south. I'm getting ready to go to Atlanta this weekend. Anybody in Atlanta going to the Apex Museum for the Dr. Khalid Muhammad tribute program. So I'll be there for that all weekend at the Apex on Auburn Avenue. So, and then the company that I work with is the Black Justice Initiative. And we do everything from advocating for prisoners that maybe you got a mistrial or you wasn't representative to, you know, the way you should have, or you need a lawyer, you need resources for a good law firm or something like that. That's what we do. Okay.
And that is so appreciated. But I want to make sure that anybody that wants to be able to tell their story can get on tonight. And I got the switchboard kind of blowing up on me.
Okay, well, go ahead. That's fine. I just wanted to give my little 2 cents and say Black Power appreciate you, and you have a blessed day.
You too.
All right.
And we're going to get to 7806 right quick. Wow, and that's I think every neighborhood has that type of story too. 7806. What's good, fam? How you doing?
Good evening, King. It's Angelique.
What's going on, Queen? How are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry. It took me a minute to get to you. I do this homeless animal thing at night, so I was trying to get as much of the noise out of the way as possible so that I can give you my story without all the hubbub in the middle.
Okay.
How is everyone doing? I was unable to catch the Queen Before Me story. And, Queen, let me just say this. The more you talk about it, the more you heal. And the more you talk about it, the more you educate everyone around you. And this is what we need. We need sisters to step up and just tell their story so that we can put an end to this type of crisis, because it's been underground for far too long. This is back in biblical times. This is ridiculous, and it needs to end. So thank you, Queen, for sharing your story. For real, for real. My story is pretty cut and dry. I tell it. I scream it at the top of my lungs sometimes. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not scared of no man before me in any shape, form, or fashion as it pertains to anything about this topic alone, because what happened early on in my life prepared me for everything that I was going to deal with as I grew. Now, I was a toddler. I was a kid. I was a baby. I was 2 years old, and I was raped repeatedly and abused to death. I got picked up by my ponytails till my lips split in half. Like I've been smacked across rooms and slid down walls and behind furniture. This is a part of the tragic story that I have, and people used to think that I was angry and just mean and abused. I just was bottled and didn't know how to express
deal
myself.
with it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was declared a sociopath. I was next in line with serial killer tendencies. Like I had a mean, evil streak, which is quite the contrast to the person that everybody gets to know today, because I worked very hard not to be that person no more. I was very volatile. I got arrested multiple times. Before there was a 3-strike law on felonies, I had 7 felonies before that law even came into place, because I couldn't keep my hands to myself. Because this was what I knew early on. And so let me bring it all the way back to what had happened. My mother was not a good English speaker.
Okay.
And she could not defend herself. And she married my biological father when she was 16. By the time she was 17, she had me. He had broken both her arms, her wrists, fractured both of her ankles. He tried to hobble her, and he put her in the hospital. When the ambulance took off with her because nobody was there to arrest his ugly ass, he took me, and instead of keeping me for himself, he decided that he was going to place me with his sister who had autism. But not only was she autistic, but she married a savage, because, of course, nobody else was going to want her, and she was dumb enough to go through whatever he was going to put her through. Anyway, she did have a job. She was like a candy stripe. I'm almost 50 years old. In a couple more months, I'll be 50. So candy stripe is basically just another orderly in a hospital that runs around changing bedpans and stuff like that for people who do not know. So she had that night shift, and so every night he would pick me up, and he had his way with me. Yes, it was full vaginal penetration. My uterus was turned inside out. I was not able to have children had I decided or desired to have any. I would not be physically able to do that. And I was not a talker. I did not say much at all. I was not, and everything that I did in that house, I got my ass beat for. And let me say something else. Like, just to add credence to what I'm saying is, like, I would get up, and I was not a heavy eater. And I would get up in the morning, and his wife would be asleep. I refuse to call her my aunt because she was a piece of shit. His wife would be asleep, and they would have prepared breakfast for me. And one morning, there was lima beans and a over-easy fried egg in a bowl, and that was my breakfast. And I looked, lima beans and eggs, and I looked at that food, and I did not want that damn food. And I threw up in my plate because I was so disgusted. It was cold, the egg was slimy, the lima beans were just fresh out of a can. You know, I can't stand butter beans to this day for that reason, or vegetables for that matter. And I threw up in my plate. And I was forced to eat that. So the mental of my psyche was destroyed. You know, and one day, and this went on repeatedly. You know, I was with them for 2 years, so this went on for 2 years. And I finally started learning how to talk. And so every time I opened my mouth, I got smacked in it, punched in it, kicked across the room. It's just, you know, there was a house. He had all boys. He had 3 sons. And anytime any one of them did something to get into trouble, they pointed their finger at me. And so I was the one who was getting the beatings the way that I was getting them. And when I say I'm sure he broke ribs when I was a baby like that, he absolutely did something to me that would maim me for days, and all I wanted to do was just stay in my bed. So, and then that proved unhealthy because in the middle of the night he would just come and scoop me up and have his way with me. So,
I'm so sorry to hear that, Queen.
You know what, King? Not for nothing. People say you need to forgive these kind of people so that you can move on and stuff like that. And I had, like I said, I had to find my own strength within what I remembered. You see, because you block that out. You forget. You know, and like I said, my mom finally, when she came across a very good man, the man who raised me, the man that you know to be my father all over my Facebook page and stuff like that, he and her got together, and he was like, let's go get your daughter. Let's go get our daughter. And they came and they got me, and I tell him every day, if I can, I'm like, Daddy, you saved my life. Because the minute I was able to formulate a sentence and the moment that I was going to be able to tell that story, I was going to end up dead in a swamp somewhere. One of them kids on a milk carton. Because at some point in time, I know just the determined person that I am personally, that I would have told that story at as early as 5 years old. You know, so basically you say me, it did not come out until I was 11. I wasn't able to put none of that together. Like, one day I was in the bathroom, and I was just doing something as simple as brushing my teeth, and I looked in the mirror, and flashback, boom. And when I say the flashback hit me so hard, I fell and hit my head on the sink. And my mother came in there, and she was like, what the hell is wrong with you? What happened? I had a big speed knot on my head. She rushed me to the kitchen, put a bunch of ice on it, trying to get it down, and I wanted to go to sleep, and she would not let me go to sleep. And when it came out spilling. The same way I'm kind of telling y'all, I spilled it out. I just kept going. I kept going about how, like, one day they was playing in the yard. It was Christmas time. I did not get a gift. I was in the yard with the supposed cousins, and the little boy swung his car around and smacked it into a tree. And the father came outside and saw pieces of the car all over the place, and he said, what the hell happened? It was a little remote control car that was attached with a string, and he said, Angelique broke it. That motherfucker beat me all around the house. He beat me out in the yard, around to the backyard, through the fucking backyard door, into the house, up to the second level, into my bed. Wow. I'm talking about a bloody kid. Like, I I wasn't just being sexually abused. I was being abused. And like I said, had my father not come get me with my mother when he did, I would not have been alive to tell this story now. And so when people started to ask me about this particular part of my life, people thought that, like, other people got very nervous. They got very scared. They were like, oh, you know, it's a delicate situation. You know, I might go off the deep end and do something crazy, or, you know, I might succumb to depression, or, you know, there were so many speculations as into the person I was going to turn out to be. So they felt like the best story for me was silence. You're not going to silence me now. We're going to talk about this shit, because it felt good to let it out. It felt good to remember. It felt good to say, that's the motherfucker that hurt me. You know, so I'm sharing this story not as, you know, so that, like, you feel defeated in the purpose, but to look beyond what another person tried to do, because I survived and I thrived. I thrive today. Anything I have ever wanted to do in this life, I have done. I have beaten the odds. I have been able to move beyond anything anyone can do to me, and no one can hurt me more than I can hurt myself. So I refuse a vicious cycle. I refuse addiction. I refuse all of those things. I rebuke it in every term, form, fashion, however you want to take a look at it. And I took it and I became something more and better. And I can look at anyone in the face and with the strength of, I don't know where even the strength came from, but with the strength of, I guess, my ancestors, I look at people and I'm like, oh, you think you finna victimize me. This not about to happen. And I learned at an early age how to be a savage. But once I learned how to curb what that was, I learned how to channel my anger. And channeling your anger will bring you into, and you know what, it's okay to get therapy if that's what you need. It's okay to talk to people if that's what you need to do. Tell your story as many times as possible, because the more you tell it, the stronger you're going to get. The more you're going to realize that you survived something that a lot of people would have choked back, succumbed to depression, killed themselves. You know, tell your story, because you know what, you're going to give somebody else some hope. I'm not afraid of my past. A lot of people are afraid of the past. They're a lot afraid of the stigmas that can come with it. You know, oh, she's angry. Oh, she's you damn right. Why the fuck would I not be angry? You took from me what I never would see. And people are like, oh, that's why you're a lesbian now. I don't know that to be true. I didn't, it's not, I don't hate men. I find men attractive. I think they're very, you know how I feel about my brothers in the culture that I'm involved with, and I'm very close to them. And, I just, I like women. I don't know why, but it's just something that I am. And I've been that way since, I can remember ever having a crush. So what I'm saying is, and maybe it was a safety net for me. I don't know. And I don't care to even delve into that part, because I'm a healthy person overall. I get to the business, I handle it, and anything that I can do to help anyone that has ever been in my situation, domestic abuse, molestation, dealing with a pedophile, the best remedy for you is to look someone dead in their face and let them know they did not win over you. They did not claim dominion over you, that you still have a soul and that you can move forward. People are like, victim. No, stop calling me a victim. I'm a survivor. Because when you victimize, when you say I've been victimized, you're reducing the human being that I have come to be. No, I'm a survivor, and guess what I'm fitting to do? I'm not just finna be a survivor. Now I can thrive. I've told my story. I've moved on from it, and I'm going to help the next queen that might need my help, that might need my whatever she may need from me. I have to be there for her. That's my job, because that's what we're here for. That's how villages and nations were raised, because we're here for each other. So
that's so true. And I truly appreciate you for calling up and sharing that with us, Queen. I really do.
not a problem, Kane.
And if you already know, if you need anything, just reach out, let me know.
Okay. And if there's any questions that come on later, just let me know. I'm gonna stay listening once you mute me out. You know, so if there's anybody that has any questions, or did you prepare a list of hotlines for people to reach out, or?
You know what? That's the one thing I did forget. I got like a whole bunch of statistics and some information, and I'll be sharing it throughout. If you look at one of the live streams, we on Facebook, we on Twitch, we on YouTube, and somewhere else I can't remember.
Make sure you put that out there, because a lot of people don't realize that these places do exist, and you can reach out, and you can get help, and you can come from under the rock that you decided to climb under because you feel like you did something wrong. Just understand, you didn't do nothing wrong. No matter what the story is, if you were violated, you were violated. Come out and be a survivor. Stop being a victim.
And
that's
on
why
that
I
note,
wanted to share my story with you.
The National Sexual Assault Hotline number is 1-800-656-4673. So you got a number right there. It's national, so wherever you at least in the States, 1-800-656-4673. On that note, I got quite a few people in the queue. And if you want to get on air, I'm sorry, Queen, what you say?
No, yes, go ahead.
Oh, if you want to get on air, you do got to press 1, so I will know, because I got quite a few people in the queue. And I think we're going to get to 8147 next. And like I say, if you listened to the show before, you know, one thing we're not going to do is we're not going to disrespect you. This ain't no gotcha shit. This is something, you know, that hopefully, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a year. If you want to get on air, you do got to press 1, so I will know, because I got quite a few people in the queue. They will benefit. And I think we're going to get to 8147 next. Anyway, let me get to, and like I say, 8147. If you listened to the show before, what's good, fam? One thing we're going to do is we're not going to disrespect you. This ain't no gotcha shit. This is something, you know, that hopefully, so what you want to talk about today, maybe not tomorrow. Maybe in a year, we want to get on air, you got to press 1. And we got quite a few people in the queue. And I think we're going to get to 8147 next. Anyway, let me get to, and like I say, 47. If you listened to the show before, what's good, fam? How you doing? We not going to disrespect you. This ain't no gotcha shit. This is something going to go that hopefully, that's what you want to talk about today, maybe not tomorrow. Maybe in a year, we want to get on air, you got to press 1. And quite a few people. They will benefit. And I think we're going to get to 8147 next. Anyway, let me get to, like I say, 47. If you listened to the show before, what's good, fam? Disrespect you. This ain't no gotcha shit. This is something going to go there. Hopefully, that's what you want to talk about today, maybe not tomorrow. Wow, maybe in a year, I want to get on air, you got to press 1. And we got quite a few people. They will benefit. Get to 8147 about. Anyway, let me get to, like I say, 47. If you listen to the show before, what's good, fam? Disrespect you. Ain't no gotcha shit. This is something going to go there. Hopefully, that's what you want to talk about today, maybe not tomorrow. Wow, maybe in a year, I want to get on air, you got to press 1. And we got quite a few people. They will benefit. 8147 about. Anyway, let me get to, like I say, 47. If you listen to the show before, what's good, fam? Disrespect you. Ain't no gotcha shit. This is something going to go there. That's what you want to talk about today, maybe not tomorrow. Wow, maybe in a year, I want to get on air, you got to press 1.
You know, doing those type of things.
And that's what it's all about. Like I say, and you know what, man? What's good? And I'm sorry if you're on the live. Ain't no gotcha. And I know it's in YouTube, and I'm pretty sure, judging by I have no clue why that's doing it. Yes, I do. I know now. I'm sorry. I just fixed it. But I don't think that our young brothers get listened to enough in this matter. And we are discouraged from being open and honest about a lot of just emotional things, let alone being assaulted sexually.
Yeah.
You know, and that is the unfair part right there. And what it ends up doing is it creates a cycle of silence, and that's so unfair. You know, have you talked to anybody in your family about this?
I talked to one of my cousins, like, because he told me, like, another one of our cousins that wasn't, like, it was an adopted cousin of ours that was older than him that made him do that before. And we had like, a conversation about that probably about, like, 10 years ago. But it wasn't, you know, like, we boys, so a boy stuck in an older female's breast isn't looked bad in that, you know, in the hood isn't looked bad upon. It's look, you know, it's looked at as already
right.
something that you
like
brag
you
about.
You know, you
I
like
mean,
you won the lottery or some shit.
Number. Yeah, like especially like with a babysitter, somebody that's not related to you, but like an older cousin, that's different. That's like you probably I wouldn't share that, but I just shared that here. But like with the babysitter, that was like something I would probably talk about as a kid, the other kids, but it wasn't here. Like you said, it was like winning the lottery. Like this older girl let me suck her titties, but it wasn't my doing. It was her telling me to do it. But at the time, I didn't know what I was doing.
And do you think that it's had an adverse effect on you going forward?
I say it made me like a breast man, I guess. I mean, not to be funny, and I know that may sound funny, but it made me like, and I mean,
and you're one of the lucky people too that it didn't have an effect on, because a lot of people, and especially young men, we get detached from women in general. We have difficulty maintaining relationships. We may even be, you know, domestic abusers.
Yeah.
Because our innocence was taken, and we don't have anybody to talk to about it. So you're a lucky one.
I mean, I'm sure. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say like I'm a womanizer, but I deal with multiple women at times. You know what I mean? Sometimes I might just deal with one woman, but then other times it made me like more so just want to run through females. But I don't know if that comes from that or just from the environment I grew up in general. But I don't know. It didn't really, like I said, the only effect it really had was it was introduced to me, and then I started introducing it to other females around my age, like really aware at that time. And but that's the only thing I probably feel bad about, is that I introduced it to somebody else that might not have been into that. But they were like my same age.
That's interesting too. I think another thing that we overlook is the grown man picking up the high schooler.
Are you talking about R. Kelly?
I mean, no, not R. Kelly. You can go to any high school across America, and there's some dude that's 24, 25 picking up some chick that's in the 11th grade.
Oh yeah.
And that's society-wise, that's okay with people.
Yeah, I don't think that's cool. Like me, I talk to older women. That's what I talk to, like women in their like mid to late 30s and early 40s and stuff like. So that's wild. But growing up, you do see a lot of that. I did see a lot of that. I did see a lot of older guys on the corner, or you know, so the quote unquote drug dealers or whatever, picking up the high school girls and all that. They had the nice cars, so they was able to get the girls and all that, like the girls my age and all that. But
yeah,
I mean, society is
something
that, and then where I live at, you know, in Pennsylvania, the age of consent is real low. I don't know how it is. You in Detroit, right?
Actually, I'm from Detroit, but I live in Cleveland, and I can't say that I've never checked into the age of consent here. And a lot of stuff that I have learned, you know, as a result, because I knew we was going to do the show, I wanted to look up some stuff, and it's heartbreaking. It's just absolutely fucking heartbreaking, and I don't have any pleasant way to say that. You know, there's way too many people out here that have been assaulted in one way, shape, fashion, or form, like the young lady called up, and somebody exposed themselves to her. That's a sexual assault right there.
Yeah.
You know, and those type of people, typically it accelerates. You know, over time they get more aggressive with they deviant behavior. It's no longer them just exposing themselves. Now they raping somebody.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, it really is. You know, and I'm just so proud to be, you know, able to listen to y'all stories. I really am. It's just
you know what
humbling.
you're doing? Yeah, you helping a lot of people come forward, explain, and you helping people that's listening. So that's a great thing you're doing. I'm all on board with it. I like that you're doing that.
I appreciate it, bro. No doubt, man.
And I know a couple of people. I'm trying to get some people to call in. I know somebody that shared their story with me yesterday. I was telling them my story, and they told me their story. I'm trying to get them to call in and tell their story if they feel like it. But like mine,
you know what though? If that's the case, that worked. Like that, they don't need to call in. You know, like that's dope right there that they were able to share it with somebody.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I look at it. If somebody see the flyer and it sparks something in them, and they may not even listen to the podcast, they may not even call in, but it sparks something in them where they want to call and talk to somebody. That's dope. Because I can talk to myself for 2 hours easy.
No, I appreciate your platform, man. I do. And I think everybody out there appreciate everybody that's listening. And then so I'm gonna sit back and just listen and keep checking it out, and I'm gonna try to get my friend on the other line to call up and see if she feel like, you know, expressing her. But I definitely tune in every week. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right.
And I'm gonna get to 6334 in a second. If you do want to get on air and you want to share your story, you do gotta call 347-855-8692, and you have to press 1 to get on air. And I do need to let you know that you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to guys, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule, and that's be respectful. And hopefully, I do believe that I have got the echo resolved. Yeah, and that was just totally my fault. I kind of do that sometimes. But we got that all good. And salute to I Am She Is in the chat room. Salute to Do the Knowledge. And I'm sorry, I'm not really looking at the live stream on Facebook just right now. Amari, salute to you. Mako, Teresa, D. Macy, Taisha, definitely appreciate you. And let's get to 6334 right quick. I want to make sure we can get as many stories on tonight as possible. What's good, fam?
How you doing, hon?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Thanks for asking. I was listening to some of the callers, and I was like, well, I guess I'll say my brief story because I actually was in denial with what I was going through for almost 30 years. So this is kind of rough for somebody like myself. The incident happened to me when I was about 14. The guy was, he was about 24, 25. And I was over a friend's house, and he asked me to get something in the basement. So I went and got it. And the individual guy that was at the house, too, he came downstairs in the basement with me. And he kind of cornered me. And he had started, like, fondling me and kissing on me. And sad to say, that was my first experience with a dude in that fashion. I didn't know what to think of it because beforehand I wasn't touched in that manner. It did escalate later on in that night, but I didn't look at it as a sexual assault because my definition of it was, you know, somebody actually penetrating you and forcing themselves on you in a very violent manner. In this particular case, he didn't do it in the traditional sense, but I knew something was wrong because he was much older than I was. And he told me that I shouldn't tell anyone because he knew I was just in middle school and he's fully grown. So I kept it to myself for a very, very long time. And then when all this stuff started emerging, especially with the Me Too movement and what has been going on with R. Kelly and basically more personal to home, what's going on in my own family, I felt the need to call in and say something about that.
Well, I truly appreciate you calling in and sharing your story. I really do. And well, I'm so sorry to hear that too, Queen. I really am.
Yeah. And it shaped how I thought of relationships after the fact, because that's what had my attraction to older men, you know, older men that were at least a decade or so older than I was. I thought that's what sex was. I looked at sex at that particular time as nothing but mechanics. You know, I didn't know the emotional piece of it until I got much older. But once I saw how I was essentially being used or whatnot, I basically, for all intents and purposes, was like a pillow princess. He got what he wanted. He got up. He left. You know, and it was at its worst when I was between the ages of 16 and 18, right after I had my first child. So it was like all bad until I became a full adult, and then I was able to experience a different way of looking at relations and sexual interaction. Yeah.
You're a strong woman.
Well, I don't know about all that, but, you know, I had to leave it dormant because, you know, contrary to popular belief, within all this quote-unquote strength that people personally have said about me, there's a significant void that was there that was created. And it wasn't created just in my generation, but previous ones as well. And we're taught, especially in our communities, to keep things like that quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to expose that. You know, it shows a sign of weakness. It doesn't show a sign of unity, you know, or oneness. So you just keep it to yourself, especially within the family dynamic, you know, father-daughter, mother-son, you know, cousins, aunts, uncles, you know. They use the pedigree, they use the station, they use the relation to keep victims quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree,
you know,
with
when
you.
that's going on, you know, you've got people that are coming out in their 20s, 30s, 40s saying something, and then you have those naysayers that say, oh, why didn't you say it at the time it happened? Or why did you wait 20, 30 years later to say something? Because at that particular time, A, would you have been believed if you're 12, 14, 15? 2, the person you're accusing, what if they have a higher station? What if they have a higher pedigree than you? And 3, what if they use what has happened to you against you to the point where you can't navigate socially, financially, etc.? Those are the things that victims take into consideration, and therefore they keep quiet.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I'm proud of
some
you.
People, I appreciate you. Thank you. Because there are some people that take these kind of things to their grave, and you'll never know about it.
That's so true. And you find out some crazy shit at funerals, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, family be like, yeah, that's why you couldn't sit next to so-and-so all these years. Like, why would you not say anything about that? Like, why would that person still be around? Like, we got to do better, family. We really do. And again, I want to thank you for calling up and sharing your story. It takes so much courage, man. And I truly appreciate everybody that's called thus far. And everybody that's thinking about calling. And if you are, the number is 347-855-8692, and all you got to do is press 1. And I want to, if it's cool with you, Queen, I'm going to keep you in. I'm just going to mute you, and I'm going to get to 4122 right quick.
Okay.
Okay. 4122, what's good, fam?
Good evening. This is K-Mac. How are you?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
I'm good. I committed. I told you I would come and listen. And before I even say anything to everyone that has spoken so far, I love y'all. I really do. I love y'all. I'm so sorry that this all occurred, to hurt you all. But just know there are brothers and sisters out here, like our host and myself. Y'all are very much loved. Unfortunately, I work in the field of sexual assault as well as abuse. And I have seen and taken care of victims, just like we've heard tonight. You do have some survivors. I am a firm believer that there are just as many males, and I don't mean that in any derogatory, sense. I do believe that there are just as many males that have been molested or abused as there are females. It's just that we are more comfortable with females. In the line of work that I do have, a lot of males do talk to me. But again, you have to give them, you have to give them the respect, the love, the compassion, the empathy, all of that. Unfortunately, I don't think society is all ready. And I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound messed up, but I do believe that certain levels of sexual assault and child molestation are very acceptable in our communities. Just like I do believe that certain levels of abuse are perfectly acceptable. I say that because there's been no heavy movement to eradicate it. There's no funding. There's no PSAs. You don't see it. You don't see it blasted like you do breast cancer or some of these drugs that are out here killing folks and causing all these side effects. They don't throw money in these areas. And I think one of the reasons is that there's no such thing as a cure. One of the most sobering things that I have ever done across my personal and professional life is to actually sit and talk with a sex offender or a child molester and really talk with them and look them in the eye and ask them questions. I mean, that, I would say that freaked me out, but it freaked me out after I left. And I've done that on multiple occasions because I wanted to understand. But the one thing that I got from all of them, whether it was sexually abusing their family or sexually assaulting outside, is that nothing's going to stop them. They're going to do what they want to do. That is just what they like, and it's the fight, the helplessness. One of your callers said it early. Sexual assault and sexual abuse is about power and control, always has been. And it's interesting because abuse is about power and control. They share the same characteristics. One happens to use sex, and the other one happens to use a fist or economics or spiritual and sometimes sex. It really depends. And so you can't really cure. You hear the legislation talking about chemical castration or surgical castration. That doesn't stop anything. There's no cure for that. That's what people need to understand. The other thing that people need to come off of is, in a lot of these cases, as your callers have said, there are indeed men in the home. There's this misconception that all these child molestations came from single mother families. That's nonsense. A lot of them, I would say the majority of them, they're both parents in the home. we need to really stop making excuses. I do hear from men who know that the next generation, their nieces and nephews, are being molested or being what I call, they're being primed. They're being groomed to accept the sexual assault or the molestation. And, you know, when I talk to these men who know, and it's their brother or it's one of their cousins, and they know the child being targeted, and, you know, I ask questions, have you ever talked to your mom because your dad was the one that did the molesting? And the mother's response is, well, he's dead and gone, you know, let that go with him. But then the sons, which are now the brothers, they're looking at the nieces or the nephews to do the same thing. Or the sisters are looking at, you know, the nephews or the nieces to do the same thing, because both women and men can be offenders. That's not a misconception.
And I was glad that the brother called up and told his story about what happened to him.
Actually, perfect, yes, because I hear a lot about that. And it's crazy because you know I'm on Facebook. And I do get a lot of people in my messenger that just need to talk, because those sexual assaults and those molestations come back and haunt them. Anything can trigger it. And so I do spend my time, because a lot of people know what I do for a living, talking to them using Messenger, and, you know, helping them through it, finding them the resources in their area. But if they just need to talk, some have woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm on call anyway, just because these demons just don't want to go away. I hear a lot of, oh, just forgive the offender, it'll go away. We need to stop that, because that's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. The person is going to have what we call, or what I term, a new normal. That sexual abuse, that sexual assault, that molestation, that's going to be with them for life. Now, how they deal with it going through life, okay. You know, I wonder when I hear from some of the women on Facebook that, pardon my language, they receive dick pics. It makes me wonder what was possessing a guy to send that to a woman. And in my head, because of what I do, I'm thinking early exposure to sex before they were even ready. Okay? That's what I think. Because a lot of it is just, when you look at it, it doesn't make sense. When you look at some of the movies, when the men conquer, what's the first thing they do? They rape all the women. And that's part of entertainment. That's why I say our society accepts it. And we're going to see more and more of it. Just like our society in the movies, you'll see where she can slap him and he's not supposed to hit her back, because that's supposed to be some normalized effect. Well, that's abuse. I don't care if it's a man. She just abused him. She slapped him, you know. And so our society is normalizing this. And our society is actually getting tired of hearing about it. And so they're going to change the laws so people can't report it. So people can't. They can make these statistics go away. It's coming. And I'm just watching. I'm watching this. But the victims, you know, continue coming. You know, I talk to high schoolers, and in high school, how many have been, you know, sexually assaulted or attempted gang rapes at football games by, you know, other, you know, by their peers. The nursing homes. You just heard about
that's about
how,
to be a really big one.
Exactly. I mean, but that's not unusual. STD and STI rates in the old folks' home is astronomical because of the sexual assault.
Hey, Queen.
Queen,
I'm gonna actually keep you on the line in case anybody wants to ask you a question.
Sure.
I want to get the plug in on the line right quick, and then we got. Sometimes the number comes up all ones. I forget what that means, but where you at, Ron? Damn. I think your call dropped, bro. Oh, no, I see it. What's good, bro?
Yo, what's good, brother?
Not much, man. Just listening, bro. Just listening and learning, and just I appreciate the strength that's being shown tonight, man. It's just fucking phenomenal. It really is.
Big kudos to everybody who called up and shared their stories, man. It's definitely never an easy thing, and that shit definitely bring back memories. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in them stories, man. I tip my hat to everybody who shared.
And a horrible thing, man, is I found out some shit about some things that transpired in my family as a result of us doing this show that I had no clue.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty familiar with my family history, and just sexual assault is just one thing. Like I just can't take lightly just knowing the history of where I came from, and like for me, it really runs deep. Like I could go back 3 generations of women that I'm extremely close to in my family, and all got a different story. You know what I'm saying? A child was born out of rape. All types of things. So I definitely understand. I the only thing I don't like is that the timing of it. Because of everything that's going on now socially. You know what I mean, with the recent events with the whole R. Kelly thing and whatnot. But I'm looking at it like anytime we get an opportunity to build and share these type of stories, you know what I mean, so it don't happen to the next one. It's always a good thing.
Facts. On that note, man, we're gonna get to this next caller right quick.
All right, bet.
Like I said, I want to make sure we get as many people as possible. And this is all ones. What's good, fam? How you feeling?
Okay, how you guys doing?
And we're doing all right.
Have you guys, I don't know how long you guys have been on the air, but have you guys ever had a show about people who've been accused of doing sexual abuse, but they didn't? In other words, false allegations?
We have not.
You haven't? Well, it'd be nice to have that, too. It'd be nice to have the other side. Because nowadays, anytime you rub up against some girl, it's called sexual abuse. Even if you rub up against a girl in the train and the bus, it's gotten out of hand. And years and years and years ago, if a man pursued a woman, put his hands on her, not on her tits, not on her private parts, but put his hands on her in order to let her know that he was interested, it was called pursuing the girl. But now, you can't even dance.
I mean, you do realize that things change, and often as a result that pursuing the girl, dudes didn't know when to stop, quote unquote, pursuing the girl. Like you can't just randomly just walk up to some chick. Well, hold on one second. Okay. You can't randomly just walk up to a chick, and I don't care if it's now or in the 20s.
Randomly. I said at a dance.
Okay, well, it's still randomly. You just walk up and grab a piece of ass. That's an assault.
You don't. I didn't say ass either.
Okay.
Do you know when things should stop?
I would also say that you probably got a greater chance of actually being assaulted than you would of being accused of being assaulted. That's all I'm going to say about that one.
Well, okay, if you guys want to swallow the Kool-Aid, that's fine. But if you've actually taken a look at...
That's not what today is about, though, Kenny. And I understand what you're saying, and we probably will revisit that because that's an interesting dynamic. And I'm not trying to take away from what you've experienced at all, but that's not what the show is about today.
Mm-hmm. And today, did you get the definition down about what sexual abuse is actually all about? Because, like I said, you can brush up against a girl in the subway, pass by her in the supermarket, and you can be accused of sexual abuse. Have you ever examined that?
Again, we have not at this point, but that's something that we may want to visit in the future, just not today.
Well, why not today? Because if somebody calls
because
up saying let me ask you a question.
That's not the topic of the show, bro. And I'm not going to get away. I'm not going to get away with sexual assault.
I want to ask a question. If somebody calls up and says that they were the victim of sexual abuse, you automatically assume that she's telling you the truth?
Today, yes.
Yeah, you do. Well, then.
Yes.
You just do. All right. Then no use talking.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is how to get away with rape, nigga. The fuck?
Hey, man, some people need, I guess you need, a platform. I feel bad that somebody at some point has wronged that gentleman, but it's just not a really good way of going
just
about.
Not this show, man.
Right. Like,
that sounds like a story like, my dick was only halfway hard. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it sounded like that shit was going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, I was with him at first. Like, yeah, the other side of the story. But then it's like, yeah, but what if? Then what if? And what if? Like, sexual assault kind of black and white, bro. Like, if it's unwanted, it can be called sexual assault. So technically, yeah, if you brush up on the girl and she might look good.
You know what we're not gonna do, bro? We're not gonna get that dude any more energy.
Yeah, that's a fact. Let's keep it. I got a story.
Go ahead.
You sure you want to get everybody else on first?
No, go ahead, bro. You got a right to tell your story too.
Yeah, and listen, I don't want nobody. I ain't even trying to be funny when I say this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like 8. I had to be 8 because I lived in Arizona and shit. So, my moms used to hang out with this white German chick. She had mixed kids. Her, their father was black or whatever. So the one was older than me. She was kind of, I don't want to say, if I was 8, she had to be 13, 14. Mm. So she used to watch me and my sister, and me and her sister was the same age. And it was a couple times where she just watched me by herself. And, at 8 years old, now I will say I was a fast-ass kid. You know what I mean? I can admit that. But,
you were a fast 8-year-old.
I was yes.
I'm not trying to be funny, but it just sounds like you like building in a justification for what happened to you.
No, I'm not justifying it. I'm just stating the fact for what it was. I was a little fast-ass, little nasty-ass kid at 8. You know what I mean? I had Playboys. I was that kid. You know what I mean? So,
okay.
Yeah, I don't even know how it happened, bro. Like, I couldn't even tell you. Like, I don't remember that much of it, but, I remember that was the first time. That was probably my first sexual experience. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, I ain't like I penetrated her or nothing like that. It wasn't like that, but, like, I sucked her breast. You know what I mean? Like, I just did shit that I saw on Showtime at night. You know what I mean? Once again, you know what I mean? Back in them days, man, it used to be like full-blown, all the sex movies came on back in the day around that time late at night. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. On the premium channels and shit. So, I was exposed to some type of, I knew a little something. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, though. But, yeah, so, I was just fondling and, sucking breasts and shit. And then, she put my meat in her mouth. And then, I didn't feel.
How you were 8 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but like I didn't have no friends then. You know what I'm saying? Because I lived in a whole other state or whatnot. But I would have bragged and told my homeboys. You know what I mean? But then I really go back. Like this show made me really think about that shit. Like I never even told nobody that story. You know what I'm saying? Like I really had to think. Was like, damn, nigga, was I sexually assaulted? I don't know. I guess it was. Like I don't know. I don't know what you call that. But I've had a similar experience to the brother who called up earlier, and he was going on, to where he at in life now. Like that shit kind of happened to me too.
And I think that's something that too is extremely downplayed in our society. That happens to a lot of brothers growing up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And the way that adult women talk to little boys is so sexualized in a lot of instances that it's ridiculous. and it's just normalized. It's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like K-Mac said, like society has accepted this shit to an extent. You know what I mean? This has been going on. Ain't no, like she said, like why ain't no PSAs for shit? Like you remember back in the day? Like I don't know if you remember now. It used to be this song called like Chester the Molester. It was a whole song. It was a whole music video about that shit. You know what I'm saying? But it was literally a PSA for sexual abuse. And this was in the early 90s. Like I don't know the artist who had that song, but I definitely remember that song. Yeah.
Hold on 1 second, Rome, because we got a lot of people in the queue. If you want to get on air, though, you got to let me know by pressing 1, okay? And for those people that's checking us out on the live stream, the number is 347-855-8692, and you got to press 1. And you know what, man? I'm thoroughly surprised the amount of brothers that have reached out to me and been completely honest about shit that happened. And they all, it's pretty much the same thing you said. You know, it made me think about what happened to me. Like back in the day, it was, I was looking at it like, oh, I hit the lick.
Right.
But now it's like, okay, I'm looking back and wow, and we did have a couple people that wanted to also join us on the line. So let me see. We'll get to 5070 and then we got 6698 after that. What's good, fam? How you feeling?
Good evening. I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm all right. Would you like to tell your story?
I will, and I definitely want to say, regarding the gentleman before me, yes, you were sexually assaulted. There is no maybe I was. Yes, you were. You were definitely sexually assaulted, and that is something that we don't speak about because there is this. It gets a card for manhood that, yeah, you did this very young, and too many times I hear young men losing their virginity at 8 and 10 and 12, and young ladies are not allowed to do that. But for men, it's okay, and it's really not. No one should ever do that to you that young. However, I was asked to call in to speak about my experience because I have yet to fully disclose my story to my entire family. I've sort of disclosed it to the ones that count, but I haven't told the entire family for the same reason that I didn't do it all the way back then, which was in our families we have a tendency to say, well, if anybody ever did anything to you, I'd kill them. And people think that'll help the situation, and it really does not, because no child really wants to see people go to jail. They don't want everyone to know what happened. They don't want to lose their parents. They don't want to go into foster care if their parents get locked up. So kids don't say anything because they don't want all of the attention brought to it. So parents, stop telling your kids that. But my situation was my mother trusting someone to watch myself and my brother that she was close with. It was a friend of hers. And it was a romantic partner. And from the time I met him, I remembered not liking him. It wasn't anything he said. It wasn't anything he did. I just had a feeling as a kid from then on, I don't like this guy. I don't like him. And that's something else I want to tell parents that's out there. It don't matter how close you are with dude or chick. If your kid doesn't like him, that's a sign.
Something ain't right.
Something's not right. Do not, I know a lot of, especially single parents, because my mom was a single parent, and, you're trying to live your life, and you're trying to get married, make bills easier, whatever it is, you try to reach out and have that relationship. And sometimes you're going to have to make that sacrifice because it's not safe for your kids. And if your child doesn't like someone, give them the benefit of the doubt because they can't explain why they don't like them. So it turns out that I was right. He used to wait until my mother was gone. He used to sexually molest me for, I want to say, about 2 years. It seemed like it was about 2 years. And I was a real quiet kid. I was a straight A student. I do whatever adults asked me to do, that was a type, and so I was a perfect situation for him. You know, I was an obedient child. And eventually the only thing that got me out was turning into something completely different than what myself was. I was going through a full-on depression. They didn't know what that was because in the black community we don't have depression, right? And we don't talk to our kids about depression. And I was in a full-on depression. My whole personality changed. I cared a lot less about school, about family, about everything, all because of this, what was going on. I was contemplating suicide before high school. I didn't feel like I could tell anyone what was going on. And I actually started acting out. And that's another thing parents need to know a lot of times is we see girls start to act out, especially sexually, and we think, oh, they being fast. They being fast. You smelling yourself now, and nobody realizes that sometimes these girls have been taken advantage of, and they didn't get a chance to choose to say yes for themselves. And what they're seeking for is power. So I would rather sleep with these boys or these dudes or whatever because this is the only time I get to decide if I want to or not because someone else took away my choice to say yes. And people don't see it like that. So that's what happened to me growing up. And when I look back on it, it definitely strained my relationship with my mother. And it took about 10 years for me to tell her. And even then I didn't really still tell her that's why our relationship was strained. But I lost trust in her. I lost respect for her because I feel like she didn't protect me. And I had never said anything about the guy. I had went back home on a college break, and she had told me, oh, he's on the phone to speak to you. And I went ahead and, picked up the phone, and he apologized. And he was profusely apologizing, saying that he had moved into a house with another family, and they also had little girls, and he was talking about how their little girls were rude and stuck up and nothing like me, nothing like you, nothing like you. And, he was so sorry, and he hoped that what he did didn't ruin my life. And then about 4 or 5 years later, my mother called me telling me that he was in the newspaper because he was arrested for touching a little girl in the back seat of the car while her mother was driving. And she said, that doesn't sound like him. He must have went crazy. I don't know what's going on. And I couldn't say anything because I was like, no, that sounds just like him. And she said, well, he didn't do anything like that to you, did he? And I couldn't say anything. And I felt horrible because I felt like had I said something all those years ago, he wouldn't have been in position to do it again. But as a child, you don't want to see anyone get in trouble. So all I can say is parents, listen to your kids and don't put them in those situations and don't think because you leave your child with a woman that means nothing's going to happen because women do it too.
I'm so proud of you, Queen, and I truly appreciate you sharing that with us.
No problem. No problem. And if I can also speak to some of the gentlemen, so sorry, but sometimes I'll say this to our king. When you guys decide to have a relationship with a black woman and knowing these statistics, please understand that you have the potential and the capacity to hurt her worse than her sexual assaulter. Because she is choosing to have a relationship with you, and she's choosing to open herself up after these abuses. And if she chooses to trust you and you demolish that trust by doing whatever you might do to demolish that, you break her down again. And she has to relearn all of that again because that's what it is. It's an assault on emotions instead. And these things follow you. They've affected my marriage. There are sometimes my husband knows he can't touch me the wrong way while I'm asleep because I wake up in a cold sweat because those memories are still there. And you have to know that when a woman opens herself up to you, be real and don't abuse their trust like that because a lot of us, 1 in 3 of us, have already had our emotions and bodies abused and assaulted. And when we open up to trust you, if you abuse it and you use it or you sleep around, you do different things, you lie, it makes us feel like we need to pull back within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Wow, thank you so much. And if there's anything that we can do for you, please let me know.
No problem, love. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And let me see, we got a couple more people. Wow, man, in this show, like, just time is just flying by. What number was that? Okay, 5070. Because I got 6698 and then 3978. What's good, Sam? How you feeling?
I'm good, thank you. I'm 6698. Hello, everyone. I kind of caught the end of it. Thanks for sharing your stories. My story is a little different. I don't know what everybody has kind of talked about in the or how you started off or whatever, but I am a survivor. I was molested by my grandfather. I think I was about 8, maybe 7. I think I was about 7, maybe at the time. Sorry, today is my son's birthday, and I caught the end because I was just busy. So I just want to kind of give you guys a little story. So I was probably about 7 or 8. My stepdad went away for prison. He got some time, and he had to leave for a while. So I guess when he was gone, we were kind of forced to stay with our grandparents for a while. And while staying with our grandparents, I just remember taking baths sometimes. I remember like a little certain my grandmother's bathroom was like in the middle of the house, which is kind of weird, but it had like a little windows that had like little whatever they could put in it to keep you from being able to see on the other side of it. So magazines was in this window, and I remember the magazines would move from the outside. You know, it seemed like somebody was staring at me, but I was like a little girl. I didn't really know nothing. And the one particular event that I remember is when it happened. I don't remember much. I don't remember telling my mom or anything like that, but she tells me when I told her. And so, like, I don't recall a lot of my childhood. But one particular time was he just kind of told me to come here, and he was sitting on the arm of, like, an old couch, a little chair, antique type of chair, I remember it. And I kind of came to know he was sitting on the arm, and he kind of told me to come here, and he put his hands in my pants. And he told me not to tell anyone. And he said no one would believe me. And I didn't tell anybody for a long time. I don't even remember telling my mom, but when I did tell her, she said that one day my grandparents would come into our house. And we lived in the country at this time. We had moved from my grandparents. We were only there for like a few months. My mom could find a home or whatever. So we moved to the country. And he used to come. So I had an older sister, too. And he always was just popping up sometimes, just out the blue. So one evening they were on their way to our house, and I looked out the window, and I just started kind of hyperventilating, just like couldn't breathe. This is I don't recall this happening, but I picture it happening because my mom, they told me what happened. And so I was crying and stuff and shaking and stuff. My mom made me tell her. She took me to the bathroom and made me tell her what was wrong with me. And I told her. That's all I remember. And then she kind of told me some other things that I had told her later, like maybe I see like a penis. I don't remember anything, so I don't really know what extent or level it went to. But what really broke it down is that after I told, my older sister admitted to it happening to her, and she was older than me, so I'm the one that kind of told. She wasn't. And then as we got older, he would still kind of come around sometimes with. The big thing that got me is that I remember telling, and I hated that I told because I would still end up over my grandparents' house. But my mom was there, but I remember sitting on the couch, and like he would be walking around, and I would get butterflies in my stomach, like I told on him, like, oh, I know he can't stand me, like, you know, I remember that feeling. And then as I got older, I had a child when I was 15. My grandfather never bothered me anymore, but like I said, I don't know about my sister. I think it still kind of happened or whatever. And I think she kind of was just, I'm not going to say she just allowed it to happen or anything. I'm just going to say that maybe she just wasn't as strong as me. I don't know. That part. So as I got older, I finally confronted him. So, and it probably, like I said, it happened when I was a young girl, about 18, 19. He was going to prison for messing with a kid, a neighbor, okay? So the neighbor's kid was being violated, And I remember taking my grandmother to see him. It's like my story got swept underneath the rug. My mom pressed charges, but I mean, she may have consulted with the cops, but then she didn't press charges because her mother did not want her to press charges, my grandmother, so she didn't press charges. And she just, she always would say, if it wasn't for my mom, I would have did this, or if it wasn't for my mom, I would have did that. But as I got older, I went to therapy. As I got older, I was going through the separation with my husband or whatever, so I went to therapy, and I was telling the therapist all the stuff that was going on that had happened to me as a childhood. And she told me that I had issues with my mother for not protecting me, and I realize that now. I love her to death, but I do notice I'm kind of distant, and I think it's because of that. My grandfather died last year, and I'm going to back up. I'm sorry, my story's all over the place. So when he got out of prison, it probably was about in 2012-ish. He went to prison in 1996. I remember that. And maybe he got out like in 2012-ish or something like that. And maybe before that, probably like 2010. But I have 4 kids, and my kids don't really know my grandfather. And I finally wanted to confront him when I got older. So I was, I went to my grandmother's house. She's passed by now, but I went over to her house, and I wanted my mom to come over and my sister, and they were late. And I realized, I was like, this is my story. It's not theirs. So, I confronted him, and I just asked him, I was like, why did you do that to me as a child? You hurt me, and you also impacted my children's life because they don't even know you. It's sad. You messed up, the family like that. And he basically told me that he was sorry. He said he was sick, and he said that he was molested when he was a young boy. And it kind of, it doesn't make sense, but it kind of made me feel like, wow. Maybe he never told nobody that, but I think it was by some uncles or men in his family that had molested him. And he told me he was sorry, but I still don't feel like I got my closure. So he passed last year, and I remember, before he passed, I told him that I forgave him, and I went to the where he passed at the nursing home and kind of tried to get my closure again, but I still feel like I don't have my closure.
I'm so sorry to hear that, but that is, man, and people will not realize that you forgiving him was all about you and you being able to let that go.
Yeah.
That is just the ultimate strength right there, Queen.
Yeah,
and I thank you.
I just, that's it.
And again, if there's anything I can do for you, please just let me know. And for those people out there listening, even if you don't want to call up, but you want to talk to somebody, the National Sexual Assault Hotline number is 1-800-656-4673. But please don't, you do not have to live with this by yourself. So please talk to somebody. And have you really had that heart-to-heart discussion with your mother? Do the Knowledge Radio wanted to know, and YouTube.
I have, yes, we've spoke, but I think I really need to do it again, like really just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
I've told her, but I don't, I still don't feel like I have my closure though.
And I'm not the only one thinking this. I Am, She Is, and YouTube, and I pretty much, I think everybody that's listening, we truly hope you can get some closure one day. And I hope that in some way this helps you a little bit, because, wow.
I believe so. It's good to talk and get it off or whatever. And it did make me more of a protective parent. Like my kids, they really weren't the type of kids to go over people's homes and stuff. And I know nowadays it don't even matter if your home. It could happen inside your home and things too. But I never trusted anybody. I still don't. I have issues with people that I come across, and like, what's your motive? Things. Thank you.
And happy birthday to your son.
Happy birthday, thank you. Yeah, we're on our way to the movies, and I got them right with my oldest son because I wanted to kind of do this. I didn't want them to kind of be involved with it. But one thing I will say is that I was always transparent with my children. I never wanted them to feel like if something happens, you can't talk to somebody. So I always told them what happened to me so they would be able to, know that that's not right. And if it happens, you can always tell me. Yeah. So it's kind of how we did it.
Well,
but thank you, guys.
We are all proud of you.
Do this. Yeah. Thank you.
We
I'm glad
appreciate
to
you.
do this, and I wish I had more time. I really, I've been busy all day with this for my baby for his birthday or whatever, but I wanted to kind of get in on it and just kind of share that. You never know. These people, I hate that he did that to me because I know he changed my family. Like, everybody's so distant. Yeah.
It's got to be horrible. Oh, my goodness. Just reach out to me on Facebook if you need anything, or you just want to get something off your chest.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. You all have a great rest of your evening or whatever. And I will reach out. I do appreciate
you too, and please try to enjoy yourself the rest of the day.
Absolutely. Enjoy the movie.
Have fun at the movies.
We will. Thank you.
You're
all right.
Thank you.
Take care, Quinn.
Mm-hmm. All right. Take care, guys.
All right. Wow, man. That was damn. Yeah. And we got like 15 minutes left to go. We got 3978 in the queue now. And before we even take the call, I just want to say I am so fucking humbled that y'all have shared such a huge piece of you with us and been so brutally honest. Just know you are loved. You really are. And I so mean it. If there's anything we can do, let us know. On that note, let me get to 3978 right quick. What's good, fam? Fam, how you feeling?
Hello?
3978. Hello?
Yeah, what's happening? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. What's
going
on, bro?
Yeah, what's good with y'all? Hello.
Mako, what's going on, bro? Alrighty. Well, that was Mako there for a second, but apparently something happened to his telephone.
Cell phone service got assaulted.
You're an idiot, man. You're an idiot, man. Wow, man. And let me make sure I truly appreciate Seal, Joe, Cool, Teresa, Queen, Mother, Sister, Friend, Brown, K-Mac. Oh, man, K-Mac just so brilliant. Shamir Bogle. Just trying to, it's just we definitely appreciate you taking a little time out your day to check us out. Lotus always. Oh, did I? I'm so sorry, King. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was. Yeah, man. Players mess up too, man. But anyway, I definitely appreciate everybody taking time out to just check us out a little bit. And again, we just appreciate the people that really shared. And if I screwed up a little bit, I do apologize. It definitely wasn't my heart. Other than that, I think that's about it, man. And I think we got enough time for maybe one more call. If you do want to call up, it's 347-855-8692. If you're already in the queue, all you gotta do is press 1. Wow, man, I can be so stupid sometimes, and I don't think, and then it bothers me for so long. I'm not sure what I am. Actually, it's not a caller on right now. I am she is I. Is I am she? Is that cool? Can I just say I am she? Because the whole she, it just it's bothering me. It's too long. No, if you would like to call up though, you can. And you do have to press 1 to get on air. And I'm not sure what happened to Rome. You still there, bro?
Yeah, I'm in.
Oh, okay. And I do want to make sure that you check out our family, man. Check out liberationmindedmedia.net. That's Through the Knowledge Radio. That is Black Eye Stand Radio, The Rundown with Renee, as well as yours truly, My Skin is My Sin Radio. Make sure you check us out on all our platforms. My Skin is My Sin on YouTube, on Twitter and Instagram. We are My Skin is My Sin and the number 1. We're on Twitch, My Skin is My Sin Radio. We are on Spotify, My Skin is My Sin. And I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something. Check us out on Blog Talk as well. My bad. Yeah, I have a tendency to respond out loud. Bad habit. Oh man. Other than that, I think we're about good. Did I do 7 days? I want to make sure I got everybody. I think I did. Yep. And we only got about 5 minutes left to go on the show. Anyway, man. No, Teresa, I did screw up big time a little bit towards the end. But I'm not gonna. If I elaborate on how I screwed up, that's making the screw up worse. So, but to that person that, and I'm being honest, to that person that I did not mean to do that. That was a complete accident, and I truly apologize. And I hope you can forgive me. And since we only got a few minutes left, y'all know I like to end it with a song. And you know I've been on my Connie Sun run for a minute now. And I'm trying to see which one I would like to trying to see which one we want to roll with. I think it's Bittersweet. I think we'll roll with that. And again, man, thank you all. And if you didn't talk to us, talk to somebody. You know, and do us a favor.
Yeah, we can always do another one. Always do another one.
Yeah, we definitely could do another one. I think we're gonna have to do another one. And if somebody is trying to talk to you about their truth, please listen. Because you don't know how many times somebody's gonna try to talk. And you don't want to be the last person they try to talk to. All right. On that note, man, we out. We're going to get into this bittersweet, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. See, I'm going. I got bittersweet memories. Painful thoughts in my head, bittersweet memories. When I was locked in that cell, pray for my enemies. Used to be off with their head, don't look for love now. The people only want bread, you feel my energy. First in your heart, then your head. When I say I come from under, that mean I walk with the dead, follow my ancestors. So I ain't never misled, study your bloodline. Cause they gon' tell it in red, I'm not your enemy. So why you plotting and scheming the same vicinity? I'm in them streets that you be in, your cousin, my cousin, your brother, my brother, your sister, my sister. It's a thin line between the hustle and push-up. We got the same grind, the same mind, the same struggle, same pain. What makes you think that I don't love you? We so cold, y'all. Let's get back in control, y'all. If he handling in business, you need to be getting involved at all. I make that music for them black folks. Nah, I make it for the ones who flat broke. Yeah, it one for you, you like the crack jokes. You only laugh because you lack hope. Yeah, I made that music for them black folks. Nah, I make it for the ones who flat broke. Yeah, it one for you, you like the crack jokes. You only laugh because you lack bittersweet memories. Painful thoughts in my head, bittersweet memories. I put that syrup on that bread when there wasn't nothing to eat. Pops, it was hard when you fled. My mama held it down. She told us, hold up our head. She said, by any means. Make sure them babies get fed. Still got her body parts. But she gave her arm and the leg. Talking about out the mud. Feet, knees, knuckles, and bled. Better set your pride aside. Make sure you borrow, don't beg. I know you feeling me. You probably been through the same. Ain't no convincing me. No so raced and been through our pain. But now that we hustle and now that we grinding and now we gon' make it. We gon' pull through it through without reparation. We got the same grind, the same mind, the same struggle, same pain. What makes you think that I don't love you? We so cold, y'all. Let's get back in control, y'all. If he handling in business, you need to be getting involved at all. I make that music for them black folks. Nah, I make it for the ones who flat broke. Yeah, this one for you, you like to crack jokes. You only laugh because you lack hope. Yeah, I make that music for them black folks. Nah, I make it for the ones who flat broke. Yeah, this one for you, you like to crack jokes. You only laugh because you lack bittersweet memories. Yeah, you only laugh because you lack bittersweet memories. Yeah, I bet they laugh when they lack bittersweet memories. Yeah, they only laugh because they lack bittersweet memories.